pencil in, I guess, right?
Well,
or that was the foxhole one.
That was the foxhole one.
All right. Hello out there, everybody. Welcome. This is Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB, and we got the whole crew with us tonight. Well, with the exception of Katie. I think Katie may have some food poisoning. We hope that she's okay, but that's never a good thing to have. But she's going to be back next week, and she'll be talking about her field day next week. Hey, this show is called Amateur Radio Roundtable, and it's about ham radio. And if you're out there listening on international shortwave, they're on 7490 kilohertz from Monticello. Let's see, the transmitter's up in Monticello, Maine, up on the border of Canada and Maine. We welcome you. We'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com. Tell us where you are. Give us a signal report. We'll send you a QSL card out for listening to the station here. You can join us on YouTube. On Tuesday nights, just go to www.youtube.com/W5KUB, and that's where the live show will be. We have a chat room there. You can join us and communicate with us and the crew during the show. The new format of the show is about the second half of the show tonight. We will open up Zoom to let anybody out there that wants to come on the show join us. We'll get a big group together here about 9:30 probably. We'll post the Zoom link in the chat room here in just a little while. If you've got the link from previous weeks, it's going to be the same link there. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. We need you to hit the subscribe button. I mention this every week. It helps to promote our YouTube channel, and it also helps to advertise it and bring more and more people over to watch us when you're kind of surfing YouTube. So please hit the subscribe button there. Let's see, the 40 meter net tonight wasn't great. We had just a handful of check-ins, a lot of static tonight. But I think the bands are going to be getting better here pretty soon. Tonight we're going to talk about field day from a couple locations. We're going to talk about filters. We're going to talk a little bit about our exciting near space launch and what we're planning to do and when we're going to do it. I think that's going to be interesting. So let's just jump around the room here and let me say hello to Alan. Alan, how you doing, man? You doing good tonight?
Yeah, hey, we're doing okay. It's Alan W2AW from New Jersey. Greetings, everybody. So I've got a good little tech tips for you tonight. We'll talk a little bit about filters. I just installed a CW filter in one of my QRP rigs, and I did a video on it about a week and a half ago, but I thought I'd show some things live here for tech tips, so that'll be fun. And then since we're going to chat about field day, maybe we could talk a little bit about my little solo field day operation that I run QRP from a pretty interesting radio historic location. So stay tuned for that.
All right, that'll be exciting. That'll be exciting there too. All right, let's jump around here. Let's see who we got. Let's see. Bill. Glenn. Bill's gone.
Yeah.
Bill. Glenn, how you doing, man?
Yeah, Bill ain't made it yet. I don't think he's.
Yeah, he was here. He was here and logged in a minute ago, but he said he had to go and he'd probably be back a little later.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, as you can tell, it is Prime Day. They are wearing me out. Y'all are ordering just way too much stuff, including me.
Yeah.
But Yeah, we're getting geared up for field day too. I'm going to be with the Olive Branch crew as much as I can. I'm on call that weekend, so I can't stay overnight this year, but I'll be there during the day as much as I can.
All right. Well, hope it's not hot out there like it was the last time I visited you guys out there. Man, it was
I think
hot.
they were predicting thunderstorms again
Yeah, you might need that to cool things off here.
for Sunday. Yeah, I think Saturday's supposed to be like 89 degrees, but Sunday there's a big chance for thunderstorms.
Well, all right. Well, hey, get us some pictures and we'll talk about it next week.
Will do.
All right. All right. Hey, let's just jump right into this. We've got a guest tonight, kind of a short notice, but Steve Frazier KK4VPT is joining us tonight. Steve is the president of the Delta Amateur Radio Club here in Memphis, and also he is a pilot and has an airplane. And we're going to talk a little later about his role in chasing down our near space balloon launch. So we're going to have crews on the ground and in the air. So that's going to be an interesting discussion. And we haven't even planned the details yet. That's got to happen between now and the next week to 10 days. So let's bring Steve in here. Steve, how you doing, man? You come on in here and say hello to everybody.
Hey, doing good. This is Steve. Steve Frazier, Kilo 4, Victor Papa Tango. Yeah, I been following on the Facebook page about the balloon launch, and I've seen some of the others and followed them. And Tom had mentioned on this one he was trying to kind of track it since this one was going to stay a little bit more local. Was wanting to track it a little bit better, and he was hoping that the Civil Air Patrol would help him, but I think the higher ups kind of.
Well, I haven't heard back from them. It was interesting. It got forwarded up, but they don't really know the official date yet. I didn't get a lot of interest, so I just didn't talk to them anymore.
Yeah.
When I bring in the Frazier Air Patrol, I think that's all we need, man.
That's it.
I mean, is that the plane back there? Is that?
That's the plane we're going to be using. It's a 6-seater Cherokee 6. So we can have a couple of people. It's got plenty of windows, and I'm thinking, being a low wing airplane, we can look up and see the balloon as it's coming down. I'm hoping so.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And hey, I got all kinds of ideas now. When I talk to you Saturday, I'm gonna talk about a hook on the back of that tail. Where we can hook the parachute. Now, you might want to do some practice runs in a simulator at first. But when I was overseas, we would send a drone out to do various things. This drone was about the size of my pickup truck, and I'll just say it listened to whatever it could listen to, that type thing. And at the end of the day, it would come back with a parachute, and we would send 2 helicopters out. One helicopter would try to snatch it, and if they couldn't get it, the second one would have to get it. So I'm thinking an airplane could do the same thing, man. But now this parachute's only going to be a 3-foot chute, so you're going to have to be really accurate here. And if I were you, I would turn the engine off, not to cause any air turbulence as you got closer.
There we go. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We'll get together at field day this weekend, and I think several of the people that are interested in participating on the ground and in the air are going to be there, so we can work out some of the details. The weather's going to be a key factor, and it looks like we're going to have some weather hanging around for a few days, but we can be flexible on that.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little about, and we'll talk more about this a little later in the show, but tell us more about Field Day. You've moved it this year. I was going to go to the wrong place.
Yeah, we've. If anybody's familiar with the Field Day that we've been doing here in the Memphis area, we normally have been at the Germantown Horse Show area. This year, They've got a horse show that's going to be going on this weekend, so we weren't able to have that location. We're going to be pretty close. It's still in the Germantown area of Memphis. It's going to be at the Germantown Municipal Park. If you're not familiar with that, you may be familiar with GPAC, the Germantown Performing Arts Center, just south of there. And if you're not familiar with the Germantown, with GPAC, it's just north of the Germantown Police Department. So it kind of covers a range of people who may be familiar with the Germantown area. But it's right in there. Also, the Germantown Athletic Club, right in there. We've got a huge pavilion that we can use. Several trees in the area, and it's a new location for us. But I've been out there with several people the last couple of weeks, and we're thinking it's going to work for us. If nothing else, I think we're going to have a lot of it is an active park with a lot of playground and tennis courts and different things. Now with the rain, who knows? But if the weather's nice, maybe we'll have some people that can drop by and can get on the air. We can get them on the air.
All right, and that's good. And this pavilion, is it at the other place you really didn't have a pavilion to be inside?
Right. Yeah. Before we didn't have a central location. This one, it's a very large brick, and got a big roof. It's going to be a nice area. It's going to be a nice area. We're going to have the information center there. So if anybody wants to bring by somebody and introduce them to ham radio, kind of focus in on the pavilion area there at the Germantown Municipal Park, and we'll have our GOTA station close to there and get people on the air.
Well, that sounds good. I guess you're still not getting too far away from those railroad tracks, though, right?
No, we're not. We're a little farther away.
A little farther away, because you were right on them. You were right on them at that place.
I could, after a year or two where we were before, I could tell you the train schedule. That's for sure.
That's right, man. And that thing, he always likes to blow the horn when he comes through there for some reason, doesn't he?
Yeah, where we were was near an intersection, so he would blow the horn. So
Yep. Well, I think this is going to work out great for you guys. I'm looking forward to getting down here and seeing you guys and visit with everybody. Are you operating anything particular?
I'm doing 15 meters during the day and 80 meters at night. So I'm going to be tired come Sunday afternoon. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Did you have something you wanted to share on your computer? Was it a map or something? Or
yeah. Let me see if I can here. But I've got. If you can see it, can you see it there?
Yeah, we don't have to do it if it's too much trouble.
Yeah, it's it's right there. If you're familiar at all with Germantown, it's you can Google it. Germantown Municipal Park, right there. Germantown Road, Exeter, between Germantown and Exeter Road, and just north of Farmington. If you're familiar with that area.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of parking in several different locations. And like I've said at our club meeting the other day, everybody needs to remember that field day is a rain or shine event. So that means whether the sun, even if the sun's shining, we're going to do it. And it looks like the forecast right now is for rain. So it's your typical field day forecast. So.
Well, is anybody working on food for you guys?
We're gonna do. I think it was we're doing lunch and dinner. Just gonna use some local vendors there, and caught me off guard. I can't remember. We're gonna have pizza. I think we're gonna have pizza for lunch and sandwiches for dinner. I think it's one way or the other.
Yeah,
okay. Sandwiches and pizza one time or the other. So, yep.
All right. Well, hey, it sounds exciting, man. That'll be here before we know it. I'll be down here, and we'll visit with you guys.
I look forward to meeting you, and we'll talk more about the balloon. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Look, hey, while we're talking field day here, Alan, why don't you go ahead and tell us about your special little
Sure.
one-man operation?
Yeah, so yeah, because the local club that I'm involved with, the most local one, we always have our Hamfest either the week before or a week after field day. So it's too much to have it all crowded together. So unfortunately, the club doesn't do a field day event. So I've always taken it upon myself to do kind of a little solo event. And what I'll do, let me share a little something here. Just kind of show you. It's kind of an interesting site that I go share. I go from field day at. So this is a little wiki page for the New Brunswick Marconi station. This was the site of the East Coast transmitting site for the Marconi Wireless Corporation around 1914 or so. And on this site is it was a 17 kilohertz transmitter, so 17,500 meter wavelength. Okay, and the antenna was a huge 5,000 foot long antenna array. There's a photo here of some folks there, and I found a photo of what the antenna array looked like. It was sitting on top of these long poles. The interesting thing is that's what's left of this site is now a Marconi Memorial Park, and here's an aerial view of that. And it quite literally is this area right here inside this jug handle. That's all that's left of the original site. The property for Marconi extended from this corner, these were dirt roads back then in the early 1900s, but all this property that's all developed land now is where that antenna stretched out. But now all that's left is this little inside this jug handle between these two intersections, and then this little jug handle here. We've got a ton of them in New Jersey. But my operating position is inside this little, went a little too far there, inside this little gazebo right here. I typically set up in there, and I throw an antenna up into one of these trees, and I park in this little parking lot right here. But given that it's kind of an original Marconi wireless location, it's always kind of a fun place to operate. You can kind of see over here, there's actually this picture is an image that's, there's a big boulder that's sitting right about here on the property that's got this plaque on it that talks about the park and what was there at one point. But it's kind of a fun place to operate. I typically operate QRP for a couple hours, depending on the weather. I don't even, I'm not in it for the points. I'm just in it for the fun and operating from this location. But it's kind of a fun place to go. So, and that's, I use my little ICOM 703, which is the rig that we're going to talk about later with the filters when I set this up here. But that's my little solo field day operation. So if you hear me probably on either 20 or 40, it'll be a little single side band if the bands are good. If not, it'll be on CW. So we'll catch you then.
All right. Well, that looks like fun.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Too bad there's no antennas left here for you to connect to.
Yeah, that would be nice. A 5,000 foot antenna. I think that would work with 5 watts.
Yeah. When you're operating out there, does anyone ever? It looks like you're kind of isolated back behind the trees.
It's a pretty isolated park, and I've only been interrupted once. It was about 5 years ago. I was just sitting all set up. I had my radios up. I got the antenna in the tree. I got the coax run, and 2 limousines pulled into the parking lot. I look over, and a whole wedding party got out of the limousines, and they were there because they wanted to take pictures at the gazebo, because apparently that's where the guy proposed to his wife.
Oh,
so
really?
I quickly unpack everything up, get it up out of the way, let them take some pictures for a half an hour, and then I went back and set up again and operated. But that's the only time I've been interrupted.
Well, you're a very nice guy to do that. That was great, man. All right. Well, hey. All right. In just a minute, let's get into we'll talk about your filter deal. I've got something here someone sent me. I'll mention it now. And this is going to be from WB5B sent this to me tonight. See if I can bring it up here. If I can find it. Alan, you may have already heard about this. I just learned of it today. This is a guy that's rowing solo across the Atlantic. think he started off down in the Caribbean somewhere. But he's running a 10 megahertz whisper, 1 watt whisper. So it's 10 megahertz. What's that? 60 meters, I think 60. Yeah, I can't find it. I don't know what the call is that he's running there. So if anybody knows what call that he would be using on whisper, please let me know. I tried looking up that F4GOH and I could not get anything on that. So
which way is he going? Is he going from the U.S. to Europe?
He's going from the U.S. Back toward Europe.
Okay.
So he left. Looks like he left the Caribbean, second leg from the U.S. to France. So then he'll be back home. Well, that's got to be a tough trip, man. I mean, oh gee, I don't know that I would be brave enough to do that. At least he does have a whisper transmitter that can let us know where the last place he was known. You know.
He's going to have arms like Popeye when he finishes that.
Yeah,
thing.
he may have it there, man. So if anybody can find out where this guy is on Whisper, let us know so we can start following him. 1 watt should do pretty good. There's several Whisper buoys out right now. You know, we've been flying the Pico balloons, and some people have actually built some ocean buoys, and they're putting the little tracker in it. They're weighting it down with like 20 or 30 C-cell batteries. It's completely sealed, and the top would have like a CB antenna or a whip on it, you know, that they have matched to. And they're out there right now in the Pacific floating. Right now there's a couple buoys out there floating right now that are sitting back. I think on 20 meters position reports, and they're moving very slow out there right now. Let's see. I don't know if, okay, well, I'll read the chat later. All right, so anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting there. You know, another thing we'll talk about a little later tonight during the show, after Alan's talk on filters, is I want to talk a little about our plans coming up here July 3rd, if we can pull it off July 3rd. And as you know, our payloads have always been this size right here. Our payloads have always been about 3 grams, but we're going now, this next flight, we're going to have a payload that's a little bit heavier. It's going to be about 2 pounds. So we're getting up there kind of heavy right now. So we'll talk a little about that, and I'll show you what's inside that box here in a few minutes, and we're going to talk about some of the issues that we might have as far as one piece of equipment interfering with the other piece of equipment and so forth. But we'll talk about that later. Why don't we do this? Let's take a quick break here real quick, and then Alan, we'll talk filters, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, so just stand by there.
Yeah, it looks like you're
Outdoors are calling. Get outside and under the stars with one of ICOM's ultimate SDR transceivers. The IC705 is a perfect transceiver. It's a perfect QRP companion. The base station has features and functionality at the tip of your fingers and a portable package. And it covers HF 6 meters, 2 meters, and 70 centimeters. And guess what? It weighs in at just under 2 pounds. It has a 4.3-inch touchscreen, and it's got a live band scope and waterfall. It'll run 5 watts with a BP272 or 10 watts on 13.8 volts DC. It runs all modes, including D-Star. The speaker microphone comes standard. The perfect accessory for the 705 is the LC192 backpack. It has a special compartment for your IC705 and room for all your accessories. Create your own band opening with the IC9700. This transceiver radio brings direct sampling to the UHF VHF weak signal world. This all-mode transceiver is loaded with innovative features that are just sure to keep you busy. It has a 4.3-inch color touchscreen and spectrum scope and waterfall. It has smooth satellite operation with 99 satellite channels, and it's full duplex operation in satellite mode. Heard it, worked it, and logged it with ICOM 7300. It's a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design that will far exceed your expectations. This innovative HF transistor digitizes the RF before various receiver stages to reduce the generated inherent noise in different IF stages. The IC7300 is the radio that changed the way of entry-level HF. Visit www.icomamerica/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. From QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast, proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
All right, guys, I'm back. Hey, thanks in the chat room here for helping us out. 30-meter whisper. Hey, I'm an old tube guy. Ancient. Last century ham. I couldn't visualize what band that was. We didn't have 30 meters and 60 meters and stuff like that when I got my license 59 years ago. Okay, so hey, it is being picked up. Let's look at that real quick. Here it is. There's some hits out there, and let's look at the map and see where it shows him in the map here. So this is a rowboat. Here we go. Oh man, let's see. 30 meters. Let me put his call in again.
F4 Golf Oscar Hotel.
F4 Golf Oscar Hotel. Because that can't be him. Okay. There we go. All right, there we go. He's been picked up, so that's pretty good, man. It's looks like, let me see if I can expand this a little bit here. Yeah, it looks like he is a little ways out in the ocean there now. Well, not doing too good. But anyway, there he is. We'll continue to follow him as we can, and we'll just see where he is. That's a great use for Whisper there to track him like that.
I was gonna say, looks like he's cheating a little bit though. He's in the Gulf Stream.
Well, he might be, and that might have not been by choice either. I mean,
No, it runs right up there.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Alan, let's talk about filters tonight. And there's all kinds of filters, man. There's big filters and little filters and filters that do all different things.
Yeah, actually interesting is Steve just reminded me too, maybe a good thing to mention is, especially if you're operating at a multi-op field day site, everybody's got their antenna set up in the same general area. It might be running 10 watts, 100 watts, 1,500 watts of power on different bands. You might say, well, I'm operating on different bands. I think everything's okay. But the reality is those field strengths can be so large. Oftentimes it's really beneficial and sometimes necessary to put filters on each of the rigs so that you essentially block any of the high power energy coming from the antenna from the other bands into your rig. You might cause some overload in the rigs, the receivers, or might even potentially cause damage. And actually, it's the more modern the rig with the software-defined radios and things like that, it's often become more of an issue because oftentimes the front end of those rigs are much broader, much wider. So they're going to allow more energy in from signals that are out of band, because at the very least cause some distortion and overload, but at the very worst cause potentially some damage. So if you're operating kind of at a multi-op thing, putting some band pass or high pass, low pass filters as necessary to keep the other station's energy from getting into your station is probably a good idea. So anyway, the filter specifically that I wanted to chat about, I did a little project over the last week or two to install a new CW filter in my ICOM 703. The 703 is kind of the low power QRP version of the ICOM 706, and it's kind of my go-to low power rig. And the last couple of times I've used it, I've been getting more and more into CW, and I've found that I really wish I had the narrow filter. Because it just had the wide, 2.8, 2.9 kilohertz or so, 3 kilohertz, single sideband filter, and it just got difficult when the band conditions got crowded. So I put a filter in this rig, and I thought we'd take this time to talk a little bit about filters and what they can do, and actually have you listen to it and actually see it. So let me go and share a little bit of my screen here first as an intro. Let me go to here. So this is just a page out of the service manual to kind of show you where the filters go in this particular rig. I mean, you've got the antenna sitting right here, coming through some high-pass filters into a preamp. And then there's basically two conversion stages. One conversion stage takes your signal of interest and sticks it up at around 65 megahertz. And then the second conversion stage brings you down actually to 455. There's actually a typo in the manual here that says it's the 9 megahertz filter, but it's not. It's actually a 455 kilohertz filter, noise blanker circuitry, and then that's followed by where the mode-specific filters are. Single sideband and CW, this kind of either standard built-in filter, another wider filter for AM and FM, and then for FM narrow, for FM wide, it goes straight through. You're just using this one filter. And then there's an optional filter you can stick in the rig. And that's the one that I fitted with a narrow CW filter. So so I did a video, and I'll just show, I'm not going to show the video here, but I'll just show you where it is. So if you go to my channel, youtube.com/W28W, it's the last video, it's there. It's number 333. And I've got it kind of broken down from, taking a look at the rig and looking at the filter that I'm using. I'm using one from International Radio. And then it talked about, kind of taking the rig apart and how you kind of get to, where the filter is going to go. And then, kind of show, how you get the, you got to kind of pull the board out so you can solder the filter in place. And then I go through and show what that filter can do, and you can hear it and listen to it. But I figured rather than play the video, let's have some fun and do it live here. So that's what I'll do. Let me stop sharing here for a moment. Maybe the first thing we'll do is actually listen to it. So what I'm going to do is kind of carry I don't have a lapel mic, so I got to carry my microphone over here. And I'm going to go over here and turn. I'm going to go, let's see. Let me turn. All right, let me go turn this, turn my radio on here. And we turn on some signals here. And let's see. Now, if we listen to this radio, you should be able to hear like two signals, actually both sending my call sign.
I think your sound is. I think the sound may be clipping. I don't know if it's too loud or something.
Oh, it could be. I was getting the microphone maybe too close to it. So maybe that's a little better. So you might be able to hear two. Let me put the narrow filter in place. And you should be able to very clearly hear that particular one tone. But I always found it kind of more instructive to actually visually see what's going on here. So what I'm going to do is let me go and share one more thing on the screen here. Let me do a couple things. Let me turn the modulation off here, and let's go over and share let's see, I got to bring this guy up here, and let's share. I'm going to share a spectrum analyzer screen here. So this spectrum analyzer screen is actually looking at the audio output from the rig. Let me go turn my two signals off here. So right now, with nothing going into the radio, this is the audio spectrum of the essentially what we're seeing from the rig itself. So with nothing going in, it is picking up a little bit of other noise and things like that because I've got some unshielded wires here. But You can see this is showing DC out to about 5 kilohertz. Okay, so 5 kilohertz is out over here, and DC is down here. So I can see about a 3 kilohertz wide single sideband filter. And this rig has got an IF shift. I can shift that IF and move it so I can get away from maybe a station that was down, on the low side of where I was tuned to, or I could tune to the other side to maybe get away from a station that's over on this side here and kind of get that out of the filter passband. Okay, but if I'm looking at those CW tones that I had, I'm going to turn those two signals back on here. They're only sitting about 300 hertz apart, right here and right here. And those things may be kind of tough to, I wouldn't be able to necessarily get rid of one or the other by using just this one filter, because the filter just isn't sharp enough. Okay, so let me turn those signals back off here for a second, and let's switch in the new narrow filter. So there's the new narrow filter here. Let me kind of bring this up here a little bit. Okay, so very clearly you can see that it's obviously much narrower. It's only about just under 500 hertz wide, and really steep skirts on either side, which means it's a very, very selective filter. And again, compare that to, this is the wide single sideband filter, and this is the new CW filter. And of course, we can IF shift that around as well. So now, just to show you how effective this is going to be, let me turn those two tones back on again. Okay. So when I don't have that filter in place, you can see those two tones here and here very clearly. When I put that filter on, that upper tone is just gone. If I move the filter over, you can see it pop right back up again. Okay, in fact, I could position them, they're about 300 hertz apart. I can position them so they're both in the filter, and I'd hear them both. But it's real easy just to make that signal go away by just scooting things over. In fact, what I'll do is let me make that signal come even closer. Let's go this way here. So now that tone is only 100 hertz away from the other one. So there's these two signals just 100 hertz apart from each other. And again, I can use that filter, and I'd be able to just take that 100 hertz signal, that signal is just 100 hertz away, and be able to kind of just bury that into the skirt and not hear it at all in the receiver. Okay, similarly, if I move that filter, or move that signal, let's move it to just 100 hertz on the other side. Okay, so now it's 100 hertz on the low side here. I could IF shift this thing again, and boom, make that signal go right down into the skirt of the filter and not be able to hear it at all. So this INRAD filter is extremely effective because it's not too narrow to make it annoying to listen to, but it's got really steep skirts that can really be very effective in helping to eliminate the presence of these signals. So I'm looking forward to operating this thing with this new filter, because I think it's really going to help what I can do with in hearing signals. Of course, operating QRP like I'm going to be doing, I should be more concerned about being heard than hearing what I'm trying to listen to there. But hey, we'll see. I think we'll have some fun. But I just thought that was kind of fun. I go into a bit more description and detail in the video, so if you're interested, just check out video number 333 on my YouTube channel. But I was pretty surprised at how steep these skirts were for this filter, and how effective it really was. So that's what the quick thing I had here to kind of talk about. Oh, that's one thing we'll do real quick just to kind of show you. Let's go back here and share this. So the filter I'm using is this one from International Radio. It's number 116. This is since ICOM no longer makes the FL52A, which is the 500 hertz CW filter, I figured rather than try to find one used, I found this one from INRAD, and it's probably a better filter than the ICOM one was anyway. But you can see the filter shape, of that thing here as well. So very, very happy with that. INRAD products are now being sold by Vibraplex, so you can still get those. So anyway, cool stuff. So if you operate any narrow band modes, whether it's PSK31 or Whisper or CW or FT8 or any of the narrow band modes, you may benefit pretty greatly when the band conditions get very crowded with a nice narrow band filter.
Well, that's great. I got another question for you in a minute. It's what Steve brought up here about some other type filters. But first, let me just give you an example of what we're going to discuss here. I built a remote base here, an HF remote base, and had a TS570 over there on a off-center fed antenna out there. And we implemented this 40-meter net one night a couple years ago, and I was running about 1 kilowatt on 40 meters on a different radio. Now the 570 was turned off, but guess what? The antenna was still connected. The radio was turned off. And Walter was with me that night, and we kept smelling something that smelled like it was burning, and wasn't quite sure what it was. And a little later, I realized that power had come. The 1,000 watts I was transmitting on one antenna, they weren't too far apart out there. Enough RF came back in the second antenna that was connected to the 570. It actually burned a hole about the size of a dime in the circuit board.
Oh.
Took out a transistor and a relay. It took out the attenuator relay, and it was pretty bad. Now I was able to go in and rebuild it. I rebuilt everything except I didn't put the attenuator back in. I don't use it that much, but it actually came back in and burned it up. So here's the deal, and Steve mentioned this, field day. You've got people out there, and they're probably not running real high power though. That's going to save you, but those antennas can get close. Those antennas can get close together, and hey, running them parallel is one thing. Running them perpendicular to each other is another thing too, I would imagine. So, Alan, why don't you talk a little about filters and how you can use those to?
Yeah.
You can even run multiple radios on the same antenna with those filters.
Yeah, well, you think about it, that's essentially what a repeater does, right?
Yeah.
A repeater is a relatively high power, maybe 20, 30, 50, 100 watt transmitter running through the same coax and same antenna, essentially to a receiver that's just a little bit out of band, right? So, for 2 meters, you're only 600 kilohertz apart. On some of the higher ones, you're at 1.2 meg, or it might be 5 or 6 meg or 12 meg, depending on what band we're talking about. But you're still in the same band. You're just a little bit further away. So that's the job of the duplexer. Is to try to isolate the transmitter from the receiver in the case of a repeater. In the case of field day, you're generally operating different bands. You said 20 meters, 40 meters, 75 meters, etc. You could conceptually run, a multi-band antenna through a common coax, but you really want to ensure that the transmit energy from one transmitter doesn't get into the receiver, that it might be on a different band. Because just because you've changed bands doesn't mean that the front end of that, receiver is not seeing all the other energy that's sitting on that coax. So band pass filters for the band you're listening to, band stop filters to try to attenuate the other signals that you don't want getting in, are all things that can certainly be used. So you really have to kind of think about that. And even antenna orientation, like you said, Tom, can be really important, because wire antennas that are broadside to each other are going to couple a whole lot more energy than antennas that are perpendicular to each other. Okay, just especially in the near field there. So certainly things to think about if you're operating multiple bands. There was a question in the chat from George KK4VPT asking whether it's better to use the bandpass tuning or notch filters, or some of the other filters, 3 filters that he's got in his ICOM 7300, or maybe use them all together. Well, this kind of gets down to the point of where the filter is located and what it does for you. In general, it's always best to have the filtering as close to the antenna as possible. Okay, because if we take the example of like a notch filter, oftentimes notch filters are at the very last stage. Okay, to just like maybe in the DMOD section, or right in the audio IF, or right in the audio section itself, to notch out a signal so you don't hear it. But if that's where the filter is placed, what that means is that offending signal is present all the way through the IF chain in the receiver, which means if it's a strong signal, it might affect the AGC, because the IF stage is seeing it. The various conversion stages are seeing it. So if it's a high power signal, it could be affecting, the mixer performance. It could be affecting, the AGC that you're going to get, and affect your do what's called AGC pumping, and maybe reduce your ability to hear the signal you want. Even if you eliminate the audio tone from the audio standpoint, it's already affected the receiver all the way up front. So the further up the chain and closer to the antenna you can get with filtering, the better you are, because then the following signal paths don't have to deal with those large signals. So the ideal thing would be to have it filter out the signals you don't want at the antenna, so they don't even get into the receiver, but that's not always practical. But then you hear things called roofing filters. Roofing filters is kind of a term that's applied to filters that appear very early in the radio, pretty close to the first mixing stage, to prevent high power signals from getting in and getting converted in the first place. The problem is that generally as you go higher and higher, or earlier and earlier in the receiver, oftentimes that's operating at higher frequencies, and higher frequency filters are much tougher to make narrow and steep. Okay, which is often why you see there are combinations of filters. You got filters in like your 9 megahertz IF, you have filters in the 455K IF, or you might, depending on how many conversion stages are in your radio, you may have different filters in different stages. And the idea is to try to employ the filters that you employ the filters that are closer to the front end of the radio if you can. That'll help ease the job for the rest of the filters and the rest of the IF stages in the radio. So even like some of the radios that, my radio's got DSP, it can do everything. Well, when we first started seeing radios with DSP 15, 20 years ago, all the DSP processors were working on audio. Okay, so they could do a lot of magic in terms of audio filtering, but they weren't really solving the problem of getting those offending signals out of the IF chain. As technology has advanced, we're seeing that digital signal processing move closer and closer to the antenna. And case in point with software-defined radios, oftentimes you might have one conversion stage, and then you go right into your digitizer and your DSP. Then you just have to worry about, am I going to overload the analog to digital converter in the radio? Okay, there may be some filtering you can do ahead of that. So, but in general, it's whatever combination of filters you have in the 7300, George, start with those that are closer to the antenna first. See what they can do to help, and then work your way down and use the final audio filtering at the very end if there's still a remnant of something to get rid of. That will give you the best performance, best dynamic range, best signal to noise ratio, and the least amount of distortion in what you get. So I hope that long-winded answer answered your question. So.
Hey, Alan, talking about the getting the filter as close to the antenna as you can. One of our club's secret weapons has been, we bought the bandpass filters years ago, I think from DX Engineering, and we're running a log periodic, and so we've got the 10, 15, and 20 meter stations all using the log periodic simultaneously.
Wow.
With the bandpass filters.
How much rejection do you have on the unwanted bands? Do you know?
Shoot, I want to say it's like 60 dB.
Okay.
It really knocks it out. Every now and then, if you're on a harmonic multiple, you might be able to hear. But as a general rule, move 10 kc up and you're gone.
Yeah, for a 100-watt rig, if you're running 100 watts per power, 60 dB will get you down to, a safe level. It's still going to be S9 if you actually tune to it, over S9 if you tune to it. You might be 20 dB over S9, for example, but it's not going to do damage. Okay, and if you're out of band, then it's really not that big of a deal. It's like, okay, I've got some S9 plus 20 signals on 20 meters, but I'm listening to 40, so it doesn't bother me. So 60 dB will kind of do that for you, if you're running 100 watts on the transmitting side. But
actually, you've got a filter on both sides, so really you're getting technically 120 if you want to go additively like that.
Yeah, and it all works well until you start getting to the higher bands. Then you got to start worrying about coax shield leakage and things like that can get into things. Because oftentimes when you talk about the duplexers in a receiver, you want 120 dB of isolation between transmit and receive or something like that. And then it's all kinds of things. That's why you want to use double shielded cables and things like that, because Now you're talking about a relatively high power transmitter and a receiver in the same band.
Yeah.
Okay, and so the receiver's already going to be susceptible because it's already tuned there. So you need a whole lot more rejection and isolation in that situation than you need for separating HF bands from each other.
Yeah, that's what really has been killing us is when you fire up the 20 meter CW and FT8.
Yeah,
There's kind of no escaping them.
Usually the biggest one is you got a station operating on 40 meters, and then you got your 15 meter stations, and then the third harmonic, your 40 meter signal lands in 15 meter band, and that's where you start running into issues. So.
All right, well, that was interesting, and maybe it'll give somebody some hints about field day and what they can and can't do, or what they should or should not do.
Sure.
All right, let's jump into something here a little different. First of all, if you're out there listening on shortwave, we'd love to hear from you. This show is about ham radio, amateur radio, and you can join us Tuesday nights at youtube.com/W5KUB. Hey, we'd love to hear from you. If you're listening on shortwave, tell us where you are and give us a signal report. If you're listening out there on 7490, and you can send that email to tom@w5kub.com. Let's see. Do we have anybody new in the chat room tonight? I'd just like to ask if anybody is still around in the chat room that maybe this is their first time. Just send us a little note in the chat rooms. If you're new, we're glad we have you there. There were several people on a 40 meter net tonight asked about the show, and we explained it to them. I think a couple of those people were actually in the chat room earlier. With field day coming up this weekend, we have postponed the launch of our balloon till maybe July 3rd. Now, I hope that doesn't cause problems with a lot of people. July 3rd is Saturday, and a lot of people might have their July the 4th party on Saturday. I don't know. Maybe their big celebration or parties. I don't know. But hopefully it won't affect too much our launch. So right now, if the weather's good, we're planning on July the 3rd, and we'll probably try to launch somewhere around 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, this balloon is different. For the past 2 years on the show, we've been flying the Pico balloons and trying to keep them in the air for 1 month, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, go around the world a bunch of times. And the payload, as I mentioned, is very light, just a few grams. This is the transmitter. But we've changed our site right now, and we've gone to a near space balloon. We've had several people keep saying, "Why don't you put a camera in? Put a camera in." Well, first of all, our Pico balloons won't carry a camera. We just can't carry the weight. Plus. There's no way to get the SD card back, and if you do want to transmit it back, you've got to be within range of it, and more likely you'll never catch any video from it. So we've decided to go with a near space launch, and that's what we're gearing up here. And I found out this is just about as expensive, if not more, than trying to go with the Pico balloons. There's a lot to this, and it's taking a lot of time to prepare everything and plan everything. Just to show you what the payload looks like, I've got a couple pictures here. This is going to be what our payload looks like. If I can get to it here.
Yeah, well, Tom, you can't call this one a Pico balloon. You're probably going to have to call it a Moab or something like that.
Yeah, I might have to. Guys, this box here is about a foot square by maybe 5 or 6 inches deep. And this will be the payload box that we send out. Now, we probably will have a second payload box that's maybe 15 feet from this one, carrying a different transmitter, because we're reading about and learning and studying about some interference that could be caused between 2 different GPS tracking systems, and we don't want them to knock each other out. So we might need to separate them by 15 feet. But here's the box, and if you take the top off, what you're going to see in the first one here, we've got a little layer of foam rubber right there that just kind of fills the box out. once we lift the foam rubber off, we've got another piece of styrofoam in here. This is like a 3/4 inch styrofoam here. So let's lift that out. Now once we lift that out, you're going to see that little black object there is a subscription service GPS tracking system. It's called Spot Trace, and we have contracted for the 2.5 minute updates on it. Now it works through satellite, and it'll also give us position reports from the ground, and even at low altitudes. The thing about APRS is once we get down to 100 feet or 200 feet, 300 feet, we might not be hitting any more digipeaters or eye gates, and we may not get any more tracking. And especially after it hits the ground, we're not going to get any tracking. But with this GPS system here, we will get tracking. In other words, if someone beats us to this, it takes us home, we should be able to tell what house they live in. So hopefully we'll be able to track this down. So I'm peeling the layers off. That's the GPS tracker right there that we will be using. I'm going to take the styrofoam off of that layer, and underneath there you'll see some more equipment. Now this GPS receiver here, it gets very cold up there. We're talking about minus 90 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 60 Celsius, so it gets very cold. One of the limits on this GPS tracker, the company says, is 21,000 feet. Now, I talked to their engineers, and there is no hard set limit on it. That limit is set due to temperature. So I think as long as we can keep it warm, we'll be able to get this tracker to even give us backup tracking. I have known people that flew this particular Spot Trace here. They said it worked up to 60,000 feet. We may even be able to push it up to 100,000 feet. I don't know. But what we're going to do is set its setting. If you look at its position here, you can see there's a camera right there on the left side of that box. These cameras are going to get pretty hot. They're going to get very hot in there. There's no air up there moving around, so they can't dissipate any of the heat really anywhere. So this GPS tracker is going to be sitting right on top of the camera, and it will be absorbing heat from the camera there. So we hope to be able to keep it hot, and we hope that it will track all the way up to 100,000. Now, if it doesn't, we're going to have a secondary, or our primary tracker is going to be APRS. Similar to what we've flown in the past, but Bill Brown is sending us one of his new APRS trackers, and it will send out a signal every 60 seconds, and it should be good for the 100,000 plus feet that we travel. So if you look right here, you'll see a camera on the left, a camera on the right, and you'll see a high capacity battery pack in the center. Again, LiPo batteries don't like cold weather. Now, they don't like the cold, they stop working. Most people running the batteries with it in insulation have had pretty good luck. So we're going to be highly insulated. Plus, if you look under this battery, I'm going to lift the styrofoam or the battery up here. So if you lift the battery up, you're going to see there's another camera directly under this battery, and that's going to get pretty hot again, and that will heat up that battery right there. So we've got 3 cameras in there. Right now it's east camera, west camera. When it's in the air, it's probably going to be north and south camera. Who knows what it's going to be. But we also have one pointing down. We experimented with some 360 degree cameras. They didn't look like they were going to work very well for us, so we went this route with this one. So again, I think it's going to be a great event that we're going to have right here. There's the balloon at high altitude. We hope We hope we can do 105,000. I don't know if we'll make 100,000 or not. The balloon is supposed to have a popping altitude between 100 and 110. We'll see. That means we need to be careful when we gas it up to get the right amount of gas in it. Back to the spot trace again. This is the spot trace. This is the secondary GPS system that we'll be flying right there. Now, there's some interesting things that we can do here. Let's see. First of all, we will have a parachute on the system. We'll have a 1 meter parachute. That's for everybody out there. That's 3 feet. To me, that seems pretty small. But out of all the different websites, that's what they recommend for our payload. If you look here, a payload of about 1.5 pounds or a little higher, and we're going to be at about 1.8. We need a 3 foot or 1 meter parachute, and that's going to take, once that pops, it's going to take 44 minutes for it to get to the ground. Now, hey, Steve, jump in here, Steve. Now, you got 44 minutes when it pops, man, to get your airplane in the area.
Right.
That should be doable, right?
Yeah, my plan is to, take off, while it's on the way up, and I can, we can, your forecast, you've got that program you can forecast when you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
I've got 3+ hours of fuel, so I'm thinking I'm going to, take off and kind of circle on the side of town where we think it's going to head toward, and
okay,
we'll be in good shape.
Now, you might consider putting some external fuel tanks on. I think this thing it's going to be up and down in maximum of 3.5 hours. Probably three hours. It'll be on the ground in 3 hours after launch. So if you can time your takeoff, let's say if you take off an hour after launch or even later, we'd be in good shape.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I've actually got more than 3 hours. I've got closer to 5 hours, but
okay,
3 hours for sure. So.
All right. So
I'll be. I'm not going for speed. I'm going for endurance. So.
Yeah. Now I'm sorry, I got the wrong airplane in the picture here.
That's all right.
You have the lower wing, which might give us an advantage to spotting it as it's coming down.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So here we are again. I'm still thinking about bringing on field day, bringing a tail hook out there and putting it on that airplane for you guys.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
All right. So we can see right here with a 3 foot parachute, this thing is going to be dropping at about 5.5 meters per second. That's about, I don't know, 17, 18 feet per second, and that's going to take 44 minutes for it to get to the ground. Now, one of the things is you don't want it coming down too slow, because if it comes down too slow, it catches those winds up there like the jet stream, and it might take it from here to Nashville if we're not careful. So we want it to come down in the local area here.
Well, I would imagine, wouldn't it be at the higher altitudes where the air density is so much less? I would think the speed of descent is going to be a lot faster. It's going to slow down as the air density gets.
It will definitely slow down. And this is 5.5 meters per second. That's of course with the chute open, and with the drag there on the payload. I would imagine when it first pops, there's almost no air up there. This thing's going to fall pretty good for a while, I'm thinking.
It might be faster than 44 minutes because you don't have that constant rate of descent.
Yeah. So Steve, we have a slight problem here. I see a lot of yellow and red circles, man. You want to talk to us about this and what the problem this presents?
Well, the yellow's no problem. The yellow's just kind of showing. This is from an aviation map, and the yellow's showing where there's high. It's a city, so it's usually showing a lot of buildings and stuff. The red are our problems. The big one in the center is Memphis International Airspace. That as it shows there, you see that 100 over surface. They control that airspace from 10,000 feet down all the way down to the ground.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. I see the little circle, I see the big circle in the center, and the little circle. There's a little bit of yellow between them, man. How do you know you're in there, man? I mean, they got an orange stripe painted on the ground or something?
No, thank goodness for GPS. Thank goodness for
Oh,
GPS.
man.
Yeah.
Woo.
So you can kind of see where you are.
So we plan to try to go out east and launch. Now, the thing is, any given day, the direction this is going to go is different. And to give you guys an example of this, I ran some I ran some predictions of landing each day of the week this week. And like on day one, if we launch, you can see if you can read that, we're going to launch out to the east. There's a little place called Somerville, and if you look there, it turns and it goes west. Wow. And then you can see the little pop symbol, and then after it pops, you're going to see it comes back to the east a little bit, and it goes down. Now, what we're trying to do is avoid downtown Memphis and all that stuff. We're trying to avoid going across the Mississippi River, because with one of the bridges out right now, that may be a difficult thing. Hopefully, we'll have some chasers on the Arkansas side that can help us if it does go there. So once we launch and once it hits the ground, it should be within about 30 miles, 35 miles from launch to landing. So that's on one day. Now, look at, I'm running the same time period each day of the week. So that's on one day. If we go the next day, it kind of goes to the northwest up there. It goes up, it's too small. I don't know if that's Raleigh or somewhere up there. I can't read it from here. But it kind of goes up to the west right there. You can see from launch, where it pops, it kind of makes a little circle, and then it just keeps going north up there.
Yeah, that's over in Somerville.
Is that Somerville?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
And the south.
And the landing is down to the southeast.
Yeah, the landing's over there between Walnut and Corinth, so that'd be the Kossuth
okay,
area.
Toward Corinth. Okay, I got you. Yeah. It on my screen here is pretty small. So that takes us away from Memphis, and it takes us away from the Memphis airport. Here's the next day. It looks like we're heading down toward you, Glenn. You may have to just,
Hey, yeah.
You may have to.
Yeah, that's just down the road.
You may have to just run out there and pick it up for us, Glenn.
Well, if you do it on that weekend, I will be available.
Okay, all right. So that's going down into Mississippi right there. Now, Steve, I don't know how that. Steve, how does a flight pattern like that affect you? I don't have the other map under it here. Is that?
I should be okay there. The other one, Memphis International, and then Olive Branch Airport has a control tower, and they control, some airspace. I think it's about 3,000 feet down to the ground. They might be a little bit more accommodating, but I don't want to mess around too much with Memphis International.
I wouldn't do it. Okay, so let's go look at another day. Look at this one right here. It kind of makes a zigzag. From Somerville back to...
That one would be okay, yeah.
Well, it goes from Somerville, and it goes kind of zigzag, and it goes north a little bit. Yeah, that one don't look bad. And then here's another one right here. Oh, look at this guy here. Now, I don't think this is to scale.
Right, yeah.
Is that our launch? Can you read on the screen? Is that our launch? Is that Somerville on the right side? I can't tell.
Yeah, it looks like you're always using Somerville.
Looks like the launch is on the right.
Yeah, the launch is on the right at Somerville, and so it kind of heads back toward Memphis and the river. So by us going, 20, 25 miles to the east to launch, it's kind of helping us make sure it doesn't go across the river.
Yeah, that puts you right down in the middle of Bartlett area.
Yeah, okay. So that would be, that's kind of what we're facing here. We will know more about it the day before the flight, and we'll know more about what the predictions are going to take us, where it's going to take us. We will file, and we don't have to, Steve. We will file a NOTAM, notice to airmen. We'll call and report it and file it that we're doing this launch, and of course just let them know. I'd feel better with them knowing it's in the area, you know. Now the balloon's not that big when it takes off. It's going to be about 7 feet probably, but by the time it hits 100,000 feet, that balloon's going to be 25 feet in diameter. You might be able to see it from the ground. More than likely, if you got some binoculars, you probably could see it from the ground if it's a clear day. So that's kind of where we are with with our flight. Now, we need volunteers. If there's anybody in the Memphis area, Eastern Arkansas, North Mississippi, Western Tennessee, I'm going to try to have a Zoom call maybe in a few days. Send me an email to tom@w5kub.com, and we need volunteers to go out and chase this thing down. We probably, a chase team probably needs to be at least 2 people, one to drive and one to look at the GPS maps and do the navigation and kind of, checking out the sky. So I think it probably needs to be a team, and we need multiple teams. It'd be nice if we can station some of them out in the area where we think it's going to come down. Once we launch, we will pick up everything. We'll have 2 hours before it bursts, but you just don't know where it's going to go. And usually the chase team is kind of behind if you don't have advanced teams out there. So we'll have some teams out there. We'll provide everybody with the connections to the GPS, the subscription service, and also to APRS, where you can know. You'll have two different tools that's telling you where it is. Hopefully we can get somebody under it and we can see it coming down, and that'll be cool. We're going to get video. We're going to try to do a live video of the whole thing, the event. We'll try to do a live webcast of the launch, and then for my truck we'll have a live streaming video of the chase, which probably going to be boring for a couple hours. If anybody is out at these other places, hopefully, and we will talk about this, they need to get their camera and make some video, and we will try to put all this together in a nice video at the end. We're hoping that Steve and whoever's with Steve up there in a plane can maybe even get some video. That would be cool to get some video from the plane that we can put into the video here. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be different than anything we've done. It's going to be up and over with in 3.5 hours, and I hope we find it. I hate to lose 3 cameras, a battery pack, a spot trace, and a tracker, and a parachute, and all that. But hey, if we lose it, we lose it, and it's very possible. We may not see it come down, and it's very possible somebody may find it a week later, and we'll have our address and our phone number and everything on it. So hopefully after they scavenge the cameras out and everything, they'll call us. I just need the SD cards. They can keep the cameras. I just need the SD cards to see. Launch date, we're thinking July the 3rd. That will be not this weekend, but the next weekend. That's the July 4th weekend. Saturday morning, we hope to launch maybe around 9:30, 10 o'clock, so wish us good luck, and we need volunteers. Anybody that can help us. I've got some people wanting to volunteer from Jackson, Tennessee area. I know there's some people over in West Memphis that are interested. Everybody, please contact me. We'll talk more about this, and we'll put a plan together. We'll put some kind of plan together for communications, whether we use 2 meters or a repeater or what we use, or telephones, cell phones. But we're all going to be able to communicate with each other, so we can, keep tabs of what's going on. Also, this would be a great, if you're into emergency communications or search and rescue. I mean, this would be a great probably exercise if you got a club or you got people that want to do this. This is like an Apollo landing, you know. We don't have as big a parachute, but it's going to be like an Apollo landing. And I tried to get an Apollo parachute, the white and the red, but they were out of them. So we're just going to have a plain old red parachute. But it's going to be like Apollo landing. We need to get there and rescue the ants. And for people who've been following the show, you know what we mean by the ants there. All right. Well, what do you think, Steve? You think we can do it?
I think we can do it. We can do it.
Yeah. Well, do you think you can see this orange box in the air?
You know, that's what's funny. There's sometimes, you know, with some of the technology they got in the planes now,
Yeah.
it shows you, you know, where another plane is, and sometimes I can't see a plane, but then I'm flying along and I can see a bird. You know, so
Yeah.
it's going to be. I hate to say hit or miss because I don't want to hit.
Well, yeah. And when we launch, we usually say let her rip, but I don't think we'll say that this time. You know. So here's the payload, and I'm sitting on the string.
You know,
So
staying in the Memphis area, you know, we should in the plane. We should have internet access, so we should, you know, be able to see the tracking. And
cool.
I've got a handheld radio with APRS in it that I'm hoping will help. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll do
All
what
right.
we can.
Well, you can see we have the side camera there. We got a side camera there, and then we'll have the bottom camera there. And okay, so that gets that's our payload.
Now, you're going to be streaming that live, Tom?
Well, we're going to try to best we can. Here, guys, here's the parachute. It looks kind of small to me, but you know, hey, it's 3 foot, and that's what everybody says we need to. They don't want you to come down too fast, because if it comes down too fast, if it hits somebody, it could hurt them. They don't want you to come down too slow because it may go 200 miles off track. So this is the parachute that we're supposed to use for the weight of our payload here, and you know, we'll see what happens here. But this,
now, Tom, you really know what's going to happen here.
no, we don't know.
The balloon is not going to burst, and this one's going to go around the Earth about 17 times.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but I think it's going to burst, man. I don't know if we, you know, my hopes are we can hit 100,000. I don't know. More than likely, I hate to say this, we may burst at 95 or 97, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd really love to do it at 110. And
the good thing with this one, though, is by the time we find it on the ground, the ants will have broken into one of the ice chests there, and they'll be sitting on, around a little campfire with their beer.
I guess if that was a good idea. I think you had it. I could put a lot of people fly a lot larger ice chest. You know, if we put a full-size ice chest on there and packed it full of beer, you know, maybe there'd been a lot more people, you know, in the chase. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. All right. Well, that's kind of an update, guys. Hey, next week we're gonna talk a lot about field day, and we'll mention this again because we're really gearing up for this. Let me see if I can put the link in. Let's see if we can get everybody on our Zoom that wants to join the show. Let me get the Zoom link out.
I just put it in the chat.
Did you?
there.
Okay. All right. Alan just posted. There it is. Okay, there's a Zoom link. If you guys would like to join us in the next half of the show, just come on in and talk to us about anything you want to, ham radio or whatever, and we'd love to hear from you and see you. You'll be on a show. The webcast is not going off, but you're going to be on Skype, and you know, people are going to see you. So, come on.
I'm going to jump off of here and jump on the other
So
one.
everybody, we're going to hang up. We're going to close this Zoom call down, and we're going to bring up the other Zoom link. So see you in just a minute.
All right. Yep. Switching over.
All right. All right, let's see what happens here. Well, we must have done something right because we got Glenn in here. guys, help me. I don't know if you're still a co-host from last time. I gave you guys permission last time. See if you can help me to approve people, or I'm going to be. Let's see. All right. All right, let's see who we got 3 or 4 in here already.
You got Barry, you got Glenn, Tom.
Yeah, okay.
There's Barry.
All right. So, can you tell Alan if you're a co-host or?
I'm not listed as co-host. You're listed as host, but I'm not listed as a co-host.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Let me try to fix this again.
Alan, if you're a co-host or
I'm listed as co-host. You're listed as host, but I'm not listed as a
All
co-host.
right, made you a co-host. Glenn?
All right. And anybody who comes into the Zoom, you might want to turn the audio down on the YouTube feed. You're going to get a delayed copy of that, and we're going to hear that. So if you turn the volume up on Zoom and turn the volume down on YouTube, then we'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
I'll admit some of these other folks coming in here. Audio down on the YouTube feed. We're going to get a delayed copy of that, and we're going to hear that. So if you
Okay.
on Zoom and turn the volume down on YouTube, then we'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
I'll admit some of these. Right. Yeah, I'm busy letting people in here, Tom. So
Okay, yeah, I was letting them in too. So it looks like we're doing pretty good there. We're getting a few people starting to come in here.
All righty.
Very good. All right, well, let's see who we've got in here. Well, we got Barry. Hey, hello, Barry. How you doing, Barry? Let's see. W5 is that CJ? It's so small. I need to get me a larger monitor.
Yeah, W5CJ. I'm right down the street from you, across from the hospital. Hey, Glenn.
Oh, are you? Are you down the street from me? Which direction?
I'm over here in Pembroke, across the street from Baptist Hospital.
Okay, you're not too far away, man. Is our signal coming in? Our signal coming in pretty good over there? 5.9.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Really good.
well, very good, man. All right, hey, glad you joined us there tonight, man. Let's see, and I see Tim in there. Tim, yeah. Wait, we got Roy just joined in. Let's see, let's get Roy in here. Oh boy, I clicked something. I don't know what happened. Oh boy, there we go. There's Bill. Bill's in there now. Guys, if you want to join us, we posted the link in the chat room. Just scroll till you find that link and just join us, and we'll have a ham radio party here in a minute. We were just about right on time tonight to do our switch to the gathering. We call this the gathering, or it's called the show after the show. We don't know exactly what to call it yet, but
call it Hangouts again, please.
no, I don't like the word hangouts, man. Yeah.
Well, Doc's here.
Yeah, you know, I'm glad Doc is here. I was happy to see him last week, I think, when he checked in with us, and it's been a long time since we used to get on here with Doc. There's Mark Pupo. When you enter
Good to work for Amazon. They deliver stuff at what, 9:30?
all right, so Bill's saying it asked for a passcode. He shouldn't be getting a passcode challenge.
It should be embedded in the link.
You shouldn't be. So what we're going to do is I'm going to paste the link in again. I'm pasting the link there. Well, that link looks different than. That's the same link that you posted, Alan. I guess it is. 85931. Yeah, that's it. Okay. You should be able to click on that link and come right into it without a password. All right. So, okay. This is kind of new to me. All right, let's see. Let me go to a different view here, and we'll see. We'll see what it looks like with a different view. Maybe maybe
I put a shortened link in there because maybe his thing is truncating it. So I just put a shortened
Yeah,
link
okay, perfect.
in there.
Using bit.ly. That's a cool place, man.
Yep.
Yeah, cool place. Let's see. Let's go view. Let's go gallery here. Let's see. There we go.
The gallery, you can see everybody. Here you
Yeah,
go.
gallery's on there. Do we have the? I wonder if. Let's see. Who is that? That's Bill. He got in. He got in. All right. I think Bill is. Tim.
There's Bill.
And there's Tim. All right, we're getting a few people in here.
Yeah, I got it from Tom's, when Tom put up the link. Thank you.
Oh,
All right,
okay, very good, man. All right. Oh. Okay, well, I'm glad you made it, Bill. Okay, well, guys, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Field day.
All right.
How many people are doing field day?
That'll be, yeah, how many? Raise your hand if you're doing field day. I'm going to go. I'm not going to really participate, but.
Oh, before you get into the field day chat, I have a little bit of an update.
Uh-oh.
What?
Yeah. According to my editor, ARRL is deciding on the title for my next book now, which means the cover art is soon to follow, which means it's fixing to go to print almost any time now.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, I
Do
thought
you,
maybe.
do you have the title?
No, they determined the title, and they're working that out right now.
Well, hopefully it'll be ready for the ARRL convention in New England in September
Oh.
10th, 11th, and 12th.
Easily, because it better be ready for Huntsville, or I'm going to be upset.
Yeah, there you go. I want to
No.
see you get upset.
I would suspect that it's, if they are at this point, usually when they get the title, the cover art is quickly behind it, and it will be at the printer probably within the month.
All right. Well, hopefully the ink will be dry in Huntsville.
Yeah, I hope.
I'm going to turn off all this equipment behind me because it's getting hot here in my office.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey guys, I don't know if you got your nuts and bolts magazine, but you already get your nuts and bolts magazine here. Let me show you here, man. Look at this. Here's the latest one. I always have some great projects in this magazine, man. And it's a cool magazine with different projects. Let's see. There was something else in here I was going to show you. Oh, look at there. Look at there.
Oh, they got an
Look at there.
advertisement.
Look at there. Nuts and bolts got us in there, man. If you'll see that ad in CQ magazine also. We're everywhere, man. Everywhere. They ought to make a song about that. You know, I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I
Sounds
think
like a Johnny Cash song.
Yeah, Johnny Cash did that one.
Yeah. Now I wouldn't suspect that Alan would have known that living up there in New Jersey.
Hey, no, I'll tell you, my mom was the biggest Johnny, or still is the biggest Johnny Cash fan. So.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I saw a music video last night. The name of it was Johnny Cash, and there was 3 girls singing. I didn't ever see anything in there about Johnny Cash. I don't understand the deal. I don't know what it was. Maybe I missed a lyric or something. I don't know, man. All right.
What'd you get there, Glenn?
I'm old school. I got 3 CDs.
All right.
Like I say, I'm old school. I mean, I'm one step away from vinyl, but
What'd you say? What'd you say that was, Glenn? CDs?
music CDs, yes.
Oh.
Now that I'm in the car a lot, I need a lot of music and stuff.
Yeah, well.
And I'm not into Sirius XM kind of stuff.
We were, Kathy and I were going through a lot of VHS tapes last night. We got hundreds of VHS tapes. We're going to be throwing them out, throwing them away. I got a bunch of blank ones. I said, yeah, sell them on a resale group. She said, nah, nobody's going to buy these things. So,
You never know.
Well, you know, I mean,
look, vinyl's making a comeback.
Hey, somebody has got a VHS recorder or player somewhere, and someday he's going to need a tape. Those tapes may be worth $100 a piece, man, in about 15 years.
They're not all gummed up together, and they won't open up anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we were looking at that, and some of them she's wanting to convert to DVD, maybe like home movies and stuff, but I don't have the energy to do it, man. I tell her, I said, that that's a 2-hour tape. It's going to take 2 hours to record right there, and you've got 100 tapes right there. We're not going to get this done tonight. We're not going to get this done this week, So we decided to pick out the ones we wanted to keep, and then all the others we're just going to trash.
Yeah, doesn't that hurt though? I mean, all the work you did to record those and all of that, the money you spent buying the blanks.
Yeah, well, at least I didn't buy a Beta Max or whatever that thing was
Oh,
called.
hush.
Oh, God, no.
Did you do that? Did you do that, Glenn? You bought the Beta.
I bought the Beta.
I know why, because everybody was talking about that's going to be the thing of the future, man. It's going to have the best quality, so I'm going to buy me a Beta.
Here's the deal. Sony actually developed VHS. It sold it off to JVC because it wasn't as good quality as the Beta.
Yeah, well.
But the thing is, the VHS was the first to do the 6-hour recording, and everybody wanted to record football games back then. And the Beta only could do the 2 or 3 hours at best, which wasn't enough for a football game. And that's pretty much how they won that war.
Yeah. Well, they're both gone now, so
So you got rid of the Beta machine and bought a laser disc.
Yeah, I've got one of those too, but I haven't used
An
it.
extinct dinosaur.
I haven't used it any. Gee, what are they gonna have next? I mean, what's next?
Oh, it's all going to be in the cloud.
And one of the things I'm really worried about, as I was growing up, we had boxes and boxes of pictures. Now, all those pictures, they're going to get old and crinkled and faded and lost. But I've got so many digital pictures now that nobody will ever see them again, really. You don't know where to look to find anything. I mean,
Exactly.
and then once your hard drive goes away, I mean, right now I got mine backed up on Carbonite, but I mean, why?
Yeah, I'll tell you what we've been doing, especially when we've got a bunch of pictures from like a vacation or an event or something like that. We'll take the time to we'll go to like Snapfish or something like that and order a photo book, and it's a printed book with all the pictures in it. You can add words and add decorations, and it comes as a bound book. And it'll last, many years. So we'll oftentimes, if we take a family vacation, we'll get a couple of those printed up, and we'll give them as like Christmas presents to everybody who was on vacation with us. So then now they've got memories of it, and you don't have to worry about trying to find the digital pictures anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's if you give them away to people, it's maybe the pictures will survive at some point.
That was one of our big holiday gatherings at the house. Is we'd break out all the slides of the slide projector and go through the vacation slides on the big circular drums.
Yeah, advanced the carousel, and had that too. We got cases of those slides in the back of the front closet of the house growing up, and my brother finally took them and scanned them all and put them all on DVDs for us. But we did that for years and years. I always had the slides.
Oh yeah, that was our holiday tradition. Is you break out the slides from the summer vacation.
Hey man, Spike in the chat room just told me Carbonite stopped working in the 80s. I'm still paying them right now. I mean, I'm backing up stuff to Carbonite. Maybe they just kept part of it open for me. I don't know.
I thought Carbonite was still rolling.
Yeah, they are. The one I'm using, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's talking about the Carbonite they put Han Solo into or something.
I don't know, man. Don't know. All right. Well, I'm anxious to see Field Day here, man. I'm gonna get a. Hey, Steve, are y'all gonna have that tower that it takes it all apart and puts it all together and rolls it up and?
No, I was talking to Jelly that with the Germantown Fire Department. He usually has that for us, but he says that's not available.
Wow. I've got a video. I'm going to have to pull that out. People have asked me about it. Guys, this tower,
That was the coolest thing.
it's not even a tower when it's on the trailer. It's just some pieces, and when you tell it to go up, it just starts assembling each little piece, and it hooks it together, and it goes up. It's like it builds like a Lego tower or something, and it just builds it, and it goes right up, man. And
Yeah, it's got 3 feet of like 3 feet tower sections, and it just weaves them all together.
when you say 3 feet tower section, though, I mean, it's not like a triangle. It's just sides, isn't it?
No, it's the triangle
Oh, is it?
sections. Yeah.
Well, it just stacks it up, man, and somehow it puts that stuff together. I don't know.
Yeah. It's truly amazing.
It's an interesting.
I've got if you don't have it, I've got a time lapse video from a couple of years ago, and it is pretty neat to watch it come up. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Well.
I'll send you that.
All right. Yeah. So, give me a link to that or something, and I probably have it on one. I had it on one of our shows. I could pull it out. I'd have to go back and look. All right. Let's see. Jawade, is that Jawade out there? Jawade, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Where's he located? Is he in Iraq or somewhere?
I think he's in the Middle East somewhere. I'm not real sure.
I think he's I think he may be in Iraq.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Put it in the chat where you are. I know I've seen you make comments on my videos and things like that, and good to see you here, but I'm not sure exactly where you are.
Oh, I don't have the chat room.
Yeah, it's still the chat room from the video stream, the YouTube stream.
I canceled it out just so I could come into Zoom.
Oh, sorry. I just asked him. I just asked him where he was.
Okay.
We'll see where he is. Well, usually we have a couple people down in Australia, in here with us.
Yeah, there was somebody in the chat earlier that came in from Australia. I'm not sure if he's still here, but we had someone in from Australia. I was looking to see if I could find him.
Hey, Doc.
Yeah.
Doc, let me bring Doc in. Doc, is Doc still there?
Yeah,
Where's Doc?
I see him below Tim.
Yeah, I'm here.
There you are, Doc. Hey, Doc, are you going to help us recover our balloon if it comes down your way?
No, we've got stuff going on at the lake on that weekend.
Well, more than likely, we're going to land in a lake. You got a boat?
Well, I'll be on the Tennessee River, so if you can arrange that, let me know.
All right. Well, I'm thinking we got cars and trucks. We got airplanes now. We don't have any boats lined up. I need to get some boats lined up down in Arca Butler and Sardis, and maybe over on the Tennessee River somewhere.
Yeah, I've done my share of balloon chasing, as Bill said last week. I haven't done that probably 5 or 6 years, but we used to chase a lot of balloons.
Yeah, he said you probably picked up about 90% of his launches. You've been real active in that.
Yeah, they had a program down there at the University of Alabama at Huntsville, their space hardware club, and also some of their classes. They had projects, and they used to recruit me to go chase those things down there several years ago. I don't know if they're still doing that or not, but I don't hear from them anymore. But it was a lot of fun.
All right. Well, Doc, we're going to see you down at Huntsville. You're going to make that one, aren't you?
I will.
Yeah, that's pretty close for you, so I figured you'd be there. Looking forward to it. Anybody else here? Anybody else on Zoom going to Huntsville this year? Huntsville.
Me,
There we
doing
go.
for 'em.
Glenn's going.
Are you setting up a live stream table and booth and everything?
Yeah, we'll stream the whole show there, and we'll probably give away about $8,000 or $10,000 in prizes during the show. If you're watching, Barry, are you going?
Oh, yeah.
All right. You guys go. Any of you guys are going to take the bus down there? I think the club charters this bus, don't they? That goes down
Yes.
there.
Yeah, they do. I'm not taking the bus. I'm going down on Friday and spending the night.
Yeah. Hey, that's a pretty good deal, man. Get that bus going down there. You got plenty of storage underneath. You don't have to drive. You get a little box lunch. Everything, man. It's cool.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys that run bus trips from here to Dayton.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
No, I don't think there's any bus trips from here to Huntsville, though.
Well,
Yeah.
you got a company car, can't you? Do they check your mileage very closely?
They do. I got to report my mileage every month.
Wow. Used to, I don't know, newer cars, I don't think it's possible, but I used to could reach in there and unscrew the speedometer,
It's tracked with GPS. It's the whole deal.
Oh, man, modern just messes everything up, doesn't it?
Yeah, don't it?
Mm.
Although with COVID, I usually do 30 to 40,000 miles a year. With COVID, I did maybe 1,000 miles in the car all year.
Wow.
So.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm the same way.
Well, hey,
With the new job, I'm only doing like 30 miles a day or thereabouts, which is nothing compared to what I used to.
yeah.
Yeah, although probably starting, probably next couple of weeks, I'll be getting back out on the road again because things up here in the Northeast are starting to open up again. So I know I've got an appointment middle of July up in one of my Raytheon locations in New Hampshire. So Massachusetts, I'm heading up there and probably head down to Aberdeen Proving Grounds the next couple of weeks.
Hey, Alan, let me ask you a question. Are you using a spot for your dog?
I have one. It's not the Spot. The one I have is called a Whistle.
Oh.
And it is a subscription service, same type of thing. It clips on her collar.
Uh-huh.
And then when it's at like our house or my in-laws' house, it can hook up to the local Wi-Fi in the house, and that's known as a quote unquote safe place. So it uses very little battery power. And then once you leave the safe place, it sends you a notification that hey, Sophie is here, and then every 10 or 15 minutes we'll kind of report her location. And if it's something that she got out and you've got to find her, you can actually through the app turn it into like tracking mode and get an update every 20 or 30 seconds of where she is on a map, so you can find her. But yeah, it's the same type of a deal as that.
Yeah, so I need to look at the app too. I think there's an app for this one. And Steve, we need to get everybody on the app that's going to be chasing this thing.
The one I have won't give you altitude because
won't.
It's supposed to be on a dog on the ground, so
yeah.
If she's flying, we got other problems.
So the battery in this, they're saying the battery in this one, it uses 4 little AAAs, and they're saying it'll last anywhere from 8 to 15 days, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, the one that she's got on, if normal, walking a couple of times a day and in the house most of the day, that it lasts about 5 to 7 days before I got to recharge it. But it's a small little thing. It's only about an inch and a quarter square.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we wanted some backup tracking on here, and even if this only works 21,000 feet and below, this will still be very handy for us. It'll still be really handy for us to have to give us that backup tracking out there. It's only every 2.5 minutes. That's the quickest response I could get. And normally it's 5 minutes is the best, but I'm paying them for 2.5 minute tracking. I was really encouraged when I learned from some other people that they actually flew this and it worked to 60,000, which blows the theory of the 21,000 as the maximum altitude. So that kind of fits the theory of temperature possibly. It just got cold. Because this thing's going to go up pretty fast. We're going to be doing 1,000 feet a minute on the ascent. So 1,000 feet a minute is moving right on up here. So we should be at 100,000 feet in 100 minutes. That's just a little bit under 2 hours, and then maybe about 45 minutes down. So we'll see how it goes.
Should be interesting. Looks like I got Stephen Walters at enter. I'm looking at his picture there. There's a Commodore PET. I haven't seen one of those since high school.
Oh,
Commodore. Let's see.
They were such a-
I'm not even sure what that is. I've got a VIC 20.
Yeah, that's like that. This predates the VIC 20
Oh,
and the
does it?
64, that Commodore PET.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a VIC
Yeah.
20. I think it's got something like 4K of memory, man. Something like that. I mean, it's loaded.
Yeah, that was back in the big split. You either went Apple, Commodore, or CPM or Z80.
Yeah, ZPM.
Wait a minute now, Glenn. You forgot the Osborne ones.
And
That was a CPM machine.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Hey, didn't Zenith make something about that?
Yeah, Zenith made one. The Zenith was a Z80 as well.
Yeah.
you know the Timex Sinclair.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow. There was a lot of computers back then.
Yeah. I think when in college I had a 64. I had an Apple IIe, then a Commodore 64, then an Apple II, then a Commodore 64, then an Apple IIe.
All right. So this is new to me. Stephen raised his hand.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Stephen, you need something? Say something. Talk to us.
I can't seem to chat.
Hey, is that you, Stephen?
Yep.
Or is it Stefan? It's Stefan. It's Stefan. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's Stefan. Okay. All right.
You know, I'm in the UK.
I could almost imagine you were there.
Trying my best.
I could pretty much guess you were somewhere over there. Well, none of us here have any type accents, but
Speak for yourself.
we can tell, we can tell when somebody like the UK comes on or Australia comes on.
Well, can't you tell, Tom, that Commodore PET's got the tape drive on the wrong side?
Does it? But the picture's so small here. I can't see it. It's pretty small. But on the wrong side. Let me tell you, I've made many trips to the UK and England in my job over the 30 years, and I'll tell you, I would never drive over there. They drive on the wrong side of the road. Let me tell you something. We walked out of the office one day, standing on the curb, and we look left to see if anything's coming, and we step out on the street, and we almost get blasted by a bus coming from the right, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty dangerous over there, for us. Pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I was only over in the UK once, and went to Wales, and luckily the guys that I was going to see were driving me around, because I would have, I was sitting in the driver's seat of the car, but I wasn't driving.
I have to say this. I had to take a driver's test in Japan, okay, for the left-handed drive. Let me tell you something. That was okay until you got to the roundabout. When you got to the roundabout, you had to remember you didn't go to the right; you went to the left.
Well, what's that? Kind of like that movie that Chevy Chase was in. He got in that roundabout, and he was there for like 5 hours. He couldn't ever get out.
Big Ben Parliament. Ben Parliament.
Oh yeah. Well, one time we tried. My friend of mine here from the U.S. was with me, and he tried to drive it. We took one of the company cars. He tried to drive it. I think the first instant we pulled out on the street, he said, "I'll never do that again." Oh man.
That's why God gave us chauffeurs and taxis.
That's right, man. I went into China one time from Macau, and that was interesting because, let's see, in Macau, it's been so long now, and one of them, we were driving on the left, and when we crossed the line, we had to drive on the right. It's kind of like, I don't know how they made that switch, but that was an interesting trip.
Sounds like a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah. The two roads were not compatible, man. You know, coming out of Macau, you're driving on the left, and when you get to the line in the road, it switches to the right. So
I remember driving up to Arecibo, and Arecibo, it's not a 2-lane road. It's kind of a 1.5-lane road. And the first one to get to a corner on the mountain, you know, around the edge of the mountain, the first one to honk and be heard wins. And you could look over the side of the mountain and you see all of the cars that were either driven by people who didn't hear the horn or didn't care.
I never took that. I never drove there, but I have been up on El Yunque, and that's a mountain there in Puerto Rico. We used to have an 800 meg repeater up there, and the hurricanes usually did a number, of course, you know, in Puerto Rico, and it wiped our repeater out, and we had to send a couple of our techs up there. And the little road that goes up the side of the mountain, with all the trees and everything, you look pretty safe, you know. Now, the thing is, whoever's going up or whatever, if somebody's coming down, you got to back up and let them, you know, they get the right of way, because like you said, it's very narrow. But when that hurricane ripped all the trees off the side of the mountain, the road was out on the edge and it was just a straight drop off down the mountain, you know.
Yes. I did get lucky, though. I got to go out to Arecibo and into the control room during its heyday back in the late 70s. That was really cool.
Oh.
I really hated to see that place get torn up.
And Steven just commented on his 2 8K pets. I was just going to ask you on the chat, if I'll ask you live, I forget what those things ran. Did they have like an embedded BASIC, or did you have to actually run like a BASIC? I forget what we actually did with those things, because they said it was in high school when I was messing around with those. That's 40 plus years ago now.
Mark Pupo is saying BASIC in ROM.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember BASIC.
Okay, yeah, BASIC and ROM. Okay, yeah, I think that's probably what we did with it. But I remember that I remember we actually stored our programs on a punch tape with that one.
Yeah. I had an Exody Sorcerer. It was the Z80S100 based, and it had the cassette tape.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had the cassette on the Apple II. I had the cassette drive for the Commodore 64. Then I stepped up to the disk drive, and then I had the 2E, and that had the dual floppy drives. So, but I remember in college the mainframe that we used the punch cards, and I remember many a time running across campus and having the rubber band break loose and get a confetti of punch cards say to try to put back in order, put back in the submit in.
Well, guys,
there's actually an internet project out there that they are emulating all of those older computers with an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi. And I actually bought an Altair 8800, and somebody's actually laser cut a case that looks just like the original 8800.
So here we are, nuts and bolts. We've got Brainiac here. Look, there's Brainiac.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what Brainiac does, but I guess we can build one, Glenn.
It was one of the early analog type computers that you could make yourself. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're getting really close to the end of the show here. I just want to thank everybody out there listening on shortwave on WBCQ on 7490. You've been listening to a lot of discussion about everything the last 30 minutes. But this is Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's about ham radio, and we are glad you were with us tonight. Tune back in next week for a new show, and you can join us on youtube.com/W5KUB at 0100 UTC on Wednesday, 0100 UTC Wednesday. And for us here in the United States, that's actually Tuesday. So I don't know how you guys are always in the future. We're always in the past. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next week.
And just a note, if you go on a travel trip, take your radios and stuff in the hotel where you are. Some guy stayed in a place out in San Diego, and they ripped off 15 walkie-talkies. So, I mean, hey, I don't know about these people.
Get the ARRL insurance, too.
I don't know. He was a emergency management person.
Wow.
Kenwood TK something. I don't know.
All right. Hey, guy, look at this. A digital tube tester. You can build a digital tube tester, man.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm thinking about it.
Look at that, man. Digital tube tester. Ah.
I'll wait for Glenn. He'll put it on the market.
Don't hold your breath. Amazon's got me pretty tied up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much off the grid here for a little while. I'm finally catching up though. But I've been told the first 6 months are crazy, and I've been there too, and it's still crazy.
What are you guys doing about the new electromagnetic field regulations?
That's the new FCC requirement to address that. Is that right?
Yeah, here in the U.S., we've got 2 years to kind of go through and kind of perform the compliance. So you just don't get the automatic, exemption anymore. You just have to kind of go through and do the calculations. But there are folks that have put spreadsheets together and things like that. But I think we've got something like 2 years to kind of ensure that our stations are in compliance. If they've got something that's already done, unless you're putting a new station together and making changes, then you've got to do the evaluation then. But there's nothing you need to do other than keep records yourself. There's nothing you have to submit or anything like that. Is it the same way in the UK?
It's a little bit more serious than that. You have to keep records of. You have to fill out a spreadsheet which works out what your field strength is going to be, and obviously depending on power and frequency. But the thing I'm really concerned about is that sooner or later some greedy little lawyer somewhere is going to start saying, people are, you can justifiably sue radio hounds for causing cancer or causing some other mysterious ailment, like they moan about with Wi-Fi. And
right.
that does worry me because you'll have ambulance chases everywhere chasing after radio hounds, assuming they got some money.
Yeah, people, and it's the same people that hold a half a watt cell phone to their head all day long.
Right.
There could be a market for tinfoil hats after all.
There you go.
I like the way he thinks.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to jump out.
Yeah.
Late here, I got to work.
Night, gentlemen.
So
I think we're going to go ahead and close the show down too. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We had a great time with you. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you next Tuesday. And
hey, Mark P, you make sure you get that antenna up, buddy.
He needs to. He sure needs to.
Tom, we'll see you at field day.
All right.
Yeah, we'll